All right, quick update for Wednesday. Had to find a quick cubby hole here at headquarters to do this update. Um, you know, the city's insistence on pushing through with this policy has forced the lodge to split forces between lodge work and being here at headquarters to represent members. We're getting a lot less done at the lodge and the members' work because of it, but it's our obligation to be here, and we're certainly going to represent every officer at every phase of this process till it's done. But everybody wants to know what happened at court this afternoon. 1 o'clock, we had a hearing in front of Judge Mitchell. About 90 minutes prior to that hearing, the city filed a motion to terminate the TRO. It was exactly what they had filed pretty much in federal court last week that was denied yesterday morning. Judge Mitchell pretty much said this: you both need to get in contact with the arbitrator that you agreed upon, George Ramel, and determine what availability he has and what the process is going to look like going forward if it can be achieved by December 31st, which is the city's insistence that we agree to that timeline. We're not agreeing to that timeline. This is a very involved process. It was laid out for Judge Mitchell about the difference between interest arbitration and grievance arbitration. This is a grievance. Grievance procedure has to come first before you determine if this is a contract violation, and interest arbitration would come second. It's going to take a long time, and now you add the discipline component into all of this. We said it from the get-go that even though the portal can be remedied theoretically by an arbitrator at a later date, the part that cannot be remedied by an arbitrator at a later date is the discipline that the city said this is a terminable offense to disobey a direct order for insubordination. That was their word. That means if that's the case, an arbitrator cannot hear termination cases. That has to go to the police board. So either they have to change that and say that the discipline is going to the arbitrator to also rule upon, or it's not, in order for this to be a remedy that could be done at arbitration specific to the portal, because the police department is the only agency that is being subjected to the discipline component. And the disgusting words that came out of the city's attorney, Dave Johnson's mouth, saying that this is a problem of their own doing. They have theoretically put a gun to their own head, these officers, because, police suicide isn't an issue. I mean, the tone deafness of these attorneys who are stuck in their ivory towers doing nothing but racking up giant legal bills of the taxpayers' money is pathetic. I mean, it's head-scratching that these words even come out of their mouths sometimes, but they are really that detached from reality. And he should apologize to the men and women of the police department for even making that disgusting, characterization this morning. But Judge Mitchell said this: the TRO is not going anywhere. He's not getting rid of the TRO. He told the city that flat out. We need to figure out what that timeline is going to look like and if it's attainable or not, and report back to him. He wanted an email by Friday, and he would rule after that about continuing the TRO going forward. So we shall see where that ends up. Early in the morning, the 23 unions that have now tried to join this fight went in front of Judge Jacobus and asked to have their case transferred from Judge Horan's courtroom over to Judge Mitchell. He denied that motion. It was a very long explanation. The city tried to argue that the cases are related and that Judge Horan has just as much knowledge and it should just stay in her courtroom. Well, the reality is Judge Horan is hearing a case that involves a TRO for a gag order against me, not the arbitration issue that's already been explained in front of Judge Mitchell. So how it didn't go to Mitchell's courtroom, I have no idea, but that's their issue, not mine. But I just wanted to give everybody an update on what that avenue was going forward. So you theoretically can have two different judges issuing two different rulings over the same argument, only in Cook County. Lastly, let me say this. One of the other questions was about exemptions. Our exemption issue is being addressed by the general counsel law firm of Baum-Sigmund. It's different than the labor attorney thing. If you requested an exemption, that was not going to get you out of the portal or the testing. It was only going to get you out of the vaccine mandate if it was granted. There's only been a couple that have been granted that I'm aware of, whether they're religious or medical. The majority of them, over 95% that I know, have been denied or not responded to yet. Seems like you should have had an answer already. But there is time to still address this. We've made a request from the city for the numbers of how many exemptions were put in, what category they fell under, how many were denied, and then we're going to also ask for the numbers about the city employees for the Chicago Police Department for those same breakdowns, because I want to know that everybody was treated the same. I already know one person in this building was granted a religious exemption who was a civilian employee because she was a project manager. So I don't know what a religious exemption was, but there is a possibility they have been granted. Is pretty much the end of the point I was trying to make there. The last thing I want to say is we have not changed course. The department canceled everybody's first day off coming up Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Well, you can send a simple message to the city, and we're asking everybody to disobey this order still. We want to overwhelm the system with CR numbers to provide cover for the first group of officers who were brave enough to do that and go into no pay status. That literally gave a lot of leverage to force this to go to arbitration where it should have been all along. But they need our help. There's no doubt this vindictive mayor and this piece of garbage administration in this building will attack them and come heavy-handed. That's just what they do. They do the mayor's bidding. They carry her water every single day. So please disobey the direct order. Get the CR number. If you choose to comply with the portal, you comply with it right after you disobey the order, you still remain on the payroll, go right back to work. We still have officers even refusing to go that far and still continuing to stay in a no pay status because they believe this is still wrong. I agree with them 100%, but I'm not going to sit here and tell people to do that if they don't. I mean, that's your choice. At that point, all we're asking is you disobey the direct order and get the CR number. What you do after that is entirely up to you. Everybody has different life circumstances, financially speaking, commitments. We get it. But we are also helping, financially through the Heroes Fund at the Lodge to try and get people in the no pay status through the holidays. We will have financial compensation for every day that you're in that no pay status to kind of ease the burden. We're absolutely going to file grievance to get reimbursed for all that money. And back pay, no different than the teachers do every time they go on strike intentionally and of their own doing, not because they're forced to do it. They get their back pay of those days. They're out 8, 9, 10 days every single time without even a blink of an eye. We know this is going to be a fight. We're certainly not afraid of a fight, and we're going to keep bringing the fight. Everybody, have a safe, let me say happy birthday to all my Marines out there. I will say we had a Marine last night who, after serving this country for 8 years, went into a no pay status and said basically to this department, shame on you. The freedoms I helped defend, you are now trying to take away from me after not only serving this country, but serving this city. So God bless him. I'm not going to put his name out there. Many people know who it is, but Semper Fi, brother. Everybody have a good night.